we have the graph of G. As you can see here that the value of A is negative. It means our graph will start by decreasing and ends by decreasing, as you can see. So the first thing that we'll actually do, we'll find what the stationary points or critical points or the turning points. So you know that for us to find turning points, it's what first derivative of G equals 0. Show that all the time there's a mark. Then we derive negative 1 times 3, it's going to be negative 3x squared minus 8x plus 3 then equals 0. And you know that we must not deal with a negative coefficient of x squared, meaning we can divide everything by negative 1. Since 3, it's not, these numbers are not divisible by 3, all of them. Therefore we have 3x squared plus 8x minus 3 equals 0. Then you can use quadratic formula to solve for x, or you can use the brackets. So we have x here. Sorry, it's not x, it's supposed to be 3x. Okay, let me just make it look nice. We have open brackets here, 3x minus 1, and here we have x plus 3. Then you solve for x here, or you can use the quadratic formula. Therefore the value of x is going to be 1 over 3, or the other value of x is negative 3. So these are x values of the stationary points. We do have them somewhere here, the minimum turning point and the maximum turning point, but we'll see when we draw our graph which is which. Now you will take them and substitute them on the graph of G so you can find the y corresponding values. I hope that makes sense. Therefore G of 1 over 3, you substitute it on the graph of G. Use your calculator. It will give us let me try to use my calculator here. Then G of 1 over 3 it will give us 500 over 27, and G of negative 3, it will be 0. Then write them in a coordinate form: 1 over 3, 500 over 27, and negative 3 is to 0. So these are the turning points of the graph of G. Then y-intercept, you let x to be 0. Then you know that when you substitute when you substitute 0 where there's x, you're going to find G of 0. It will be G of 0 as what? As 18. I hope that makes sense, because you substitute 0 where there's x. I hope that makes sense. Therefore G of 0 equals 18. So this is the y value of the y-intercept. Then the according to the x of the y-intercept is 0 is to 18. Then the x-intercept, let y to be 0. Y is G of x. Therefore 0 equal to, okay, let's just write it like this: negative x cubed minus 4x squared plus 3x plus 18 equals 0, the G of x. Then must not deal with a negative coefficient, therefore divide everything by negative 1. We'll have negative 3x and minus 18 equals 0. Therefore let us solve for x. You must actually show the bracket. This is what you must do: a minor bracket and a bit larger or bigger bracket equals 0. Then here you write x. Then there are numbers that you must know: 1 to 3. You have to substitute these numbers here so that you can actually have the value of x minus or x plus. You substitute 1 up to 3 on the graph of G, the one that you are having here. You substitute 1 up to 3. Then if positive 1, when you substitute it on the graph of G, gives you 0, it means it is the one that you're going to use on the minor bracket. But if it doesn't, use 1 positive 1. If it does not, you use negative 1. If it does not equal 0, you use positive 2, negative 2, positive 3, or negative 3. Then here we use positive 2, it gives us 0. Then when you substitute it back here, you must make it to be negative. So for us to find the value here, what you must do, you say x divided by x cubed divided by x. It will give us what? X squared. And for us to find the value, the last term inside the bracket, use the last term divided by the last term for you to find the value there. What's going on now? Okay, let me try to restore our information. Okay. All right. So for us to find this is what we have done. We said 18 divided by negative 18 divided by negative 2, x divided by x cubed divided by x, it's x squared. Therefore negative 18 divided by negative 2 will get what? Positive 9. Our answer there must be positive 9. Then negative 2 times x squared, it will give us what? It will help us to find the value in that open space there. Negative x squared plus the dash equals what? Equals anything in the graph of G having an x squared, which is 4x squared. Then you solve for that dash. You must solve for that empty space there. Therefore the empty space equals what? 4x squared plus 2x squared. Then empty space equals 6x squared, but you do not take these two. You will actually cancel the 2, then you'll substitute where there's an empty space, you put that x with its sign. So it's going to be plus 6x. Remember the 9 here is supposed to be what? It's supposed to be positive right here. It's supposed to be positive. So we said x cubed divided by x, we got x squared. 18 divided by negative 2, we must get what? Positive 9, not just 9, it's positive 9. I hope you understand that. So this is very, very important. For us to get the 6x, we said negative 2 times x squared, like negative 2 times x squared, negative 2x plus the dash or empty space equals whatever having an x squared on the graph of G, which was 4x squared. Then we solve what? For the dash line, we got 6x. I hope that makes sense. I feel like starting it afresh so that you can actually see this, or so that you can understand it. Okay, let me just do it so that we all understand. A smaller bracket and a bigger bracket equals 0. Then for you to find, okay, here you're going to use 1 up to 3. You substitute these numbers from 1 up to 3. The one that's going to give you 0 when substituting the graph of G, you use it. If it is positive 2, when you substitute it, it must be negative 2. Therefore x divided by x is x squared. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Negative 18 divided by negative 2 is going to give us positive 9. Then for us to find the middle term, it says negative 2x, negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared plus the empty space equals what? Anything having an x squared on the graph of G, which is 4x squared. Then you solve for an empty space. It's 4x squared plus 2x squared. It's going to give us what? 6x squared. But you do not take what? The exponent 2 here. You do not take it. You only take the 6x with its sign. Meaning that where there's that empty space, you're going to add what? The 6x. I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense now. So you use 1 up to 3. If you substitute that number, then it gives you 0. You put it on the minor bracket, but with its opposite sign. Then you can simplify this as x plus 3 and x plus 3 equals what? Equals 0. You are done now. Then write them in coordinate form. You have 2 is to 0, or you have, okay, what am I doing here? I feel like this is incorrect. Okay, let me do this. X equals negative 3 or x equals negative 3. Then 2 is to 0 or negative 3 is to 0. then there's no need for you to write this one here. Why? Because they share the same point, right? I hope that makes sense. It's one and the same thing, even if you can write it or not, it's up to you. Then let's try to sketch the graph of G by having these intercepts and the stationary points. Let me just use my ruler here. Okay. Then we try to draw it up here. Okay, let me just draw my line here. All right, then let's try to plot. You label your Cartesian plane. Then the values of x, we have 2, we have 3, we have 3, we have 1 over 2, and we have negative 3. Therefore we can say we have negative 4 here. Then we'll assume we have positive 4. Then the values of y, we have 500 over 27, which is 18.5. We have 18. Then we can say we're having 19 here. Then we'll assume, right? We have negative 19 here. Then let's try to plot our points. So we have 2 and 0. Where's 2 and 0? Let's put it here. Then we have 3 and 0, and we do have 3 and 0. But if you can remember, it was negative 3, not positive 3 is to 0. But we're having what? Negative 3 and negative 3, if you remember very well. So let me just fix it here. We're having negative 3 and negative 3. Then they are here. This is 1 point. We have 0 and 18. 0 and 18 is somewhere here below 19. Then we have 1 over 3 is to 18.5. So it is somewhere here. All right. Then we have negative 3 and 0. We actually plotted it. So let's try to join these lines. But we know that our graph must start by decreasing and ends by decreasing, since a is negative, right? Then let's try to draw it. It is decreasing. It increases. Then stationary point. Then it decreases. Okay, let me try to put this point to be somewhere here. Let's assume that's 2. Then it decreases, right? Then it decreases as it is now. This is our graph. Then you write your points. 2 is to 0. 1 over 3 is to 500 over 27, and 0 is to 18. Then here we're having 3 points in 1 point. Negative 3 is to 0. So this is the graph of f. So if you wanted to calculate the point of inflection, this is the point of inflection, you derive twice, second derivative equals 0, then solve for x, or you can add the x values of the stationary points, then you divide them by 2. Then you will take that answer that you're going to get out of this, you equate it, you substitute it on the original equation to find the y corresponding value. I hope that makes sense. So it's very important. It's either you say second derivative equated to 0, then you solve for x. Then you take that x, you substitute it on the original equation to find its y. Or you can add the x values of the stationary points. Then you divide them by 2. Then the answer, that will be the x value of the point of inflection. Then you take it and substitute it on the original graph to find the y corresponding value. I hope it makes sense.